Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. The new semester had barely begun at Crestwood College, and already the freshmen were buzzing with the excitement of their newfound freedom. Among them was Emma, a shy student who had chosen the charming but outdated Collage Hostel for its proximity to the campus. Little did she know Collage Hostel had its own secrets. The building, an old Victorian mansion, had been converted into a dormitory decades ago. It was a maze of creaky floors and musty corridors, and though its age lent it a certain character, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Her room was at the end of a narrow hallway, far from the other students' rooms. On the first night, Emma was woken by the sound of footsteps pacing back and forth outside her door. When she opened it, the hallway was empty, the silence almost deafening. She chalked it up to her nerves and went back to sleep, but the footsteps returned every night, growing louder and more persistent. The other students seemed to be settling in comfortably, but Emma's unease deepened. She began to notice that her belongings were not where she left them. Her books would be scattered across the floor, her clothes mysteriously rearranged. At first, she thought it was just the work of a careless roommate or perhaps a prank. But when she found her diary open and its pages torn, she felt a shiver of dread. One evening, Emma met a senior named Mark who had been at Crestwood for years. As they chatted, she mentioned her strange experiences at the hostel. Mark's face grew serious. "You're not the first to complain about that place," he said quietly. "There are stories about someone who never left." Intrigued and alarmed, Emma sought out more information. The hostel had once been the home of a reclusive woman named Lydia Collins. According to legend, Lydia had disappeared without a trace, and her husband, devastated by her loss, had locked himself in the house. After his death, the mansion had been abandoned until Crestwood College acquired it. Emma's curiosity turned to fear when she discovered that Lydia's disappearance was never explained. Some claimed she had been taken by a malevolent spirit, while others said she had simply vanished. But the stories always included one chilling detail. Lydia's presence was said to linger in the hostel. Determined to uncover the truth, Emma decided to stay up one night and document whatever happened. She set up her phone to record and sat quietly in the darkness of her room, the eerie silence punctuated only by the occasional creak of the old building. As the night wore on, the footsteps began again, this time accompanied by a soft, mournful whispering. Emma's heart raced as she heard a woman's voice calling her name. She turned on her phone's flashlight and cautiously stepped into the hallway. The corridor was bathed in an unsettling glow, and she noticed a shadow moving near the end. Emma followed it, her breath coming in short, fearful gasps. The shadow led her to a small, dusty storage room she had never seen before. The door was ajar, and a cold wind rushed out as she approached. Inside, the room was filled with old furniture and forgotten relics. Emma's flashlight revealed a mirror on the wall, its surface covered in a thick layer of grime. As she wiped it clean, she gasped at the reflection. It wasn't her own. The mirror showed a ghostly figure of a woman, her face pale and eyes hollow, standing behind Emma. Emma spun around, but the room was empty. The woman's voice filled her ears, pleading and sorrowful. "Help me," it whispered. "I never wanted to leave." Emma's heart pounded as she stumbled back, knocking over an old trunk. The trunk's lid flew open, revealing a tattered dress and a small, leather-bound book. The book was Lydia's diary, its pages filled with desperate writings about being trapped, unable to leave the place she once called home. The whispers grew louder and the air grew colder. Emma realized that Lydia's spirit was bound to the hostel, unable to find peace. She fled from the room, running back to her own space, her pulse racing. The next morning, Emma went to the college administration and shared her findings. Though they were skeptical, they agreed to investigate. They found the storage room, but the trunk and diary had vanished as if they had never been there. Emma moved out of Collage Hostel soon after, but the sense of dread lingered. The stories continued, and while some students remained in the hostel, many chose to stay away, wary of the restless spirit that, it seemed, would never find peace. Good night, everyone.